Hi everyone, Lisa here from Forest City Stitching. I hope everyone had a great 2 weeks. I didn't get around to filming last week. It wasn't as crazy as I thought it was going to be, as all baseball was canceled 2 weeks ago because of a combination of heat and smoke. So my son's tournament was canceled completely, and then his other games that he had scheduled had been rescheduled, and so we've already done 3 or 4 games this week, and we have another game tonight. So yeah, so it wasn't as busy, near as busy as I thought it was going to be, but I did attend Midsummer Stitch. So I did try to put in as much time there I could, as well as on the Sunday I did a run to Port Stanley. So still jam-packed, and yeah, I just didn't get a chance to sit down and film. So a week late, but now a whole bunch of stuff to show. It's kind of gonna be like a mini whip parade for my Jolly July stuff, but I am also a little bit behind on that too, so there'll be lots of Jolly July stitching again to show next week as well. So let's show what I have on my stand here, and then that can be put away. Maybe. What I should do before I press film is turn this around, and then it would be so awkward, right? That would be smart. All right, so Big City Christmas came back out, and so I've started the next house or the next business on the street. Actually, I think it's a theater. I'll show you the piece in a moment. So I got the bottom started there. Let's get this. And that's what that one looks like. So I started that last weekend, and I still don't have 200 stitches in it. So it's not going off the scroll frame quite yet, because I do want to get, actually I'm not as worried about getting 200 stitches in on that one, actually, because I'm not counting it as a new whip. Just that big piece in general is the whip itself. So yeah, see, good thing we had this talk. Okay. Yeah, this is gonna be a little chaotic over here. Got lots of things to show. Stuff I downloaded. Flosstube friends. I had a few finishes to show, so that's exciting. More haul. Actually have a good amount of haul. Oh. Okay, let's start with haul. Nothing overly super exciting, but let's start with that. Okay, so from the dollar store, the Dollar Tree, I should say, Lori from My Crazy Life had posted these like pencil cases. So Dollar Tree is not somewhere that I go very often, but because right by me is a Dollarama, so that's obviously easier to go to. There's a pink one, a green one, and a blue one I picked up. So those are nice smaller sizes, as well as I picked up a couple of these. They're pink zippered, more of the plastic bags. So I have those to add to our stash. And then we went to Staples to pick up my son a new backpack when my parents were in town last weekend. They also came to visit last weekend. And I picked up this capybara. It's a very thick plastic little project bag. So I'm all set for project bags of various sizes. So those all fit together nicely inside each other. I don't know where they're going. They can go on the floor. So there's that. I also received my fabric from Kaylee at the sewing shop. And this is called Rainbow Sherbet. And it's definitely Rainbow Sherbet. So very pretty. Very nice. Actually, I think I want to... Obviously, there's some more modeling in different areas than others. That section's pretty modeled. Beautiful. And one day at lunch, I was at Walmart, and they had the Just Cross Stitch Halloween edition, so I picked that up. There's a couple cute things. I did a quick flip through, I believe. I think that dinosaur is kind of cute. Yeah. I don't know if there's anything that really popped out that I need to stitch right away, but yeah, happy to have it in my stash for sure. Yeah. So I got that. Guess we can just add it to our magazine bucket. I have my magazines are right under this desk, so that's perfect for putting away. Now, what's very exciting is on one of the Canadian de-stash groups on Facebook, someone had posted that they had the Disney Dreams collection, Thomas Kincaid, Cinderella Wishes Upon a Star. And she wasn't sure about price. It was open, but everything was there. And I happened upon the post, and no one else had commented or messaged her. So I messaged her, and I got this for a very reasonable price. So I got this kit. And it is open, but everything is there. So yeah, you can see how the threads are sorted. So, yay! Yeah, very reasonable price. The lady, yeah, it was lovely. She took pictures of it when she was putting it in the mail, and asked that I let her know when I received it. And yeah, I will probably sub out the fabric, because again, this is, I don't know if there's a 2009. So it's a 17-year-old kit. So the fabric's been folded for 17 years. So yeah. So happy with that. Don't know when I will start that, but yes, very excited. And then on Saturday, last Saturday, I met Karen the Stitching Owl for her to hand off her Flosstube friends to me. We met at Stitches Central, and then actually while we were chatting in the parking lot, Sarah the rocking chair stitcher showed up as well, as her family was in town, and she made a stop at Stitches Central. So that was exciting to see both of them. It was a little round robin meetup. So this is the piece that I'm going to be working on next month for 2 months. And this is a Darlene, from Darlene Dion Designs piece. So Darlene stitched the first one, Sarah the second one, and then Karen the Stitching Owl has stitched the third one there. She chose yellow for the dress. Yeah. So this is on, I believe, a 32 count linen. So I might need to get my magnifier out for that one. So we'll see. We'll see. The good thing is, well, I shouldn't say that because I didn't really have a lot of plans in June, and then I didn't really get my button gear with my Flosstube Friends piece in June. So you will see that shortly. Okay, so that's everything that I picked up or received in the mail. So yeah, that's a nice little bunch of stuff. I did want to mention a couple other things that are kind of silly, but that's fine. And my husband thinks this is really ridiculous. But if you haven't seen Jimothy, then you need to go to Instagram and just search Jimothy. He is a lovely little raccoon that has a short spine, and I am loving all the different patterns that are coming out for him. Yeah, and people are just taking him as inspirational. So for example, this one is free from the Snowflower Diaries, so I can show you that. I downloaded one from Stitch People, which is actually 3 different versions. So you'll have to check that out because I can't show you the pattern. And then I downloaded one from Twisty Threads Design, and it was also a free one. Do your best, Jimothy. So check those out if you are a Jimothy lover. There are a few paid ones as well, like the Witchy Stitcher has one that's cute, as well as Mama Witch cross stitch as well, I believe. So while we're talking about designers, I did reshare my my Canadian list of Canadian Flosstubers, designers, dyers, and shops on Instagram Thursday night, with this increased threat or additional threat of increased tariffs, additional tariffs, however it is. I just wanted to try to reignite the support Canadian by Canadian movement that we all saw there, I guess a year and a half ago. And just remember to support all our small businesses in our country. Yeah, Caroline from Evertote put out a video about how the new tariffs are potentially may affect them. Again, everything is just a day-by-day thing, right? So, so I just wanted to just remind everyone and give everyone an easy link to our Canadian, yeah, crafters and designers and shop owners, etc., right? creators. Yeah. And in doing so, a few people reached out and asked me to add a couple things to my list, and I was happy to do so because a couple I didn't know of, a couple I kind of stumbled across but didn't make it to the list for whatever reason, and so I have made a few additions. I did also take off Traditional Stitches because I did go to their website and it does look like they are officially closed now. So, so who I added to the list is Debbie by the River. I think her Flosstube channel is DebbyByTheRiver55. And I think you heard me talk about Debbie from Stitch North. So she now has a Flosstube channel. So go check her out. I haven't watched her first video yet, but it is in my to watch later list. Another Flosstuber I had added not too long ago, but I forgot to talk about, is StitchyMessNamedJess. And she is, I believe, in the Ottawa area. So go check out her Flosstube. And then another Flosstuber that I haven't had a chance to look at yet, but had reached out on my Instagram, is One Cat Crafting. So go check her channel out as well. A couple shops and Dyers that I added. Haunted Frame Stitchery. So I had come across her Etsy shop and I'm following it, but she hadn't quite made it to the list. But then she reached out asking me to add her, so happy to do so. Cliffside Stitches is someone that I'd never heard of. I believe they're located in British Columbia, but I might be wrong on that. But they have a lot of blackwork designs. So that's very interesting. So go check out Cliffside Stitches. And then Color Compliments is a floss dyer in BC. And it looks like they do dye pearl cotton, I think primarily for why is my needlework? Yeah, that's right. It's needlework, right? Yes. Not cross stitch, but the other, needlework. My mind just blank there. On like needlework canvas, right? So that looks like what they primarily focus on, but they also have 6-stranded cotton in addition to the pearl cotton that they dye, and very, very pretty. So yeah, go check out my updated list. I'll make sure the link is updated. I think it just automatically updates as I add things. So it will be in my description box as it always is. But I hope you go and check out those new additions. So I even wrote that down on my grocery list to make sure I would remember to tell you all. Okay. We haven't even got to the whips yet. And we're already 19 minutes in, so. Okay, let's go with, before we get to my finishes, I have another finish, not by me. So my son, yesterday after his baseball game said, after I eat lunch, I want to go downstairs and play my video game a little bit. And then if you will let me, I would like to work on my cross stitch again. So we got out his cross stitch after. He was done playing his video games, and I'm not sure why he used the phrase, "if you will let me," but maybe just because I do need to still help him with, like, threading the needle and getting the stitches started and ending the stitches, like ending a thread, but yeah. So he finished his axolotl by Canadian Stitchery, and that is Axel, the axolotl, and use the sticky felt for the back. So he is all done. And then he even started another one. He rated my Canadian Stitchery kits, and I think he would have picked, I had a raccoon one. I think he would have picked that one, but I told him no, that was mine. He picked Banbury Blue Jay to start next. And so this is during the Blue Jays game yesterday. So I didn't get any stitching in during the Blue Jays game because I was monitoring this. But during that time, he finished his axolotl and he started a Blue Jay. And that's how far he's gotten on the Blue Jay. And I think we might have created a monster, because then he went on to Mary's website, Canadian Stitchery's website, and has picked out at least 3 more kits that he would like. Yeah, but I told him that I will wait to order those until there's a sale or until I see her at Stitch North again to get those. Because they're very good products, right? But, and they are worth the money, but the kits are $25 each, right? So we're not going to go crazy and buy a whole bunch of kits. Even though if he didn't stitch them, let's be honest, I probably would. But also, not last week, but the week before, middle of the week, my credit card was compromised, so I am waiting for a new card. So I also can't really buy too much online right now, because to do so, I need to use my husband's credit card. So let's be honest, it's just easier for me to wait at this point. Yeah, so we've created a monster with that. There is one kit, there's a little bunny on the Evertote website that is on sale, so I think I will likely get him that. But yeah, something has ignited in him that he is interested in that. And the last time he stitched on it would have been when we went to Toronto for his birthday, like a year ago, March, I think. So yeah, his skills have definitely increased, I've noticed, and his patience, and yeah, so that's that. Okay, my finishes. Why don't we just get to my finishes and then we'll look at whips. So I have 2 finishes. Prairie Schooler Santa. This is the 2021 Prairie Schooler Santa. I did change the color of that fox. So he's all done. And then in here is my baseball piece. So I finished this. So this is a Stitching with the Housewives piece. Now I did change some colors. So the outline of Play Ball was charted in red. I changed it to blue. I changed this to red and a lighter red, almost pink. And then I also changed the bunting from a blue to a red variation because my son's team are the Red Sox. So I wanted that to be more red. And then he is number 9, so I put a 9 in the baseball. But yeah, that's stitched up fairly quick. So that is all done. Yesterday I worked on my socks during his game, and then I moved to the heel flap, which is fine. It's easy enough. But I somehow thought I dropped a stitch. So then I ended up adding a stitch, and then I ended up with too many stitches, and I think I got it all figured out now. Yeah. Okay, so let's get to some whips. So you saw Big City Christmas, so that counted as a start. Prairie Schoolers Santa. Okay, so that one I worked on, was slated to be worked on Saturday the 11th. So I don't know exactly when I worked on it, but it is done. Christmas Gathering. So let's see what's in here. This is kind of my catch-all Christmas whips. Christmas Gathering. Okay. I had Christmas Gathering and Believe in my head as different pieces. Okay, Christmas Gathering is this piece from Fiber and Floss Canada. And I'm doing it on a 25 count opalescent, 1/1. And so I just worked on those people, and she had charted 5 people, and I chose just to make it 3 to represent my family. And I'm using this Threadworks, and it's 1089 is the color. So it's just a variegated red Threadworks. So that's all I did in that one. Well, I have this bag out, also worked on, and if you pop by my stitching table in Midsummer Stitch, you might have seen me working on this. But it's Mouse's Christmas decorating. And so I did the cardinals, started the green, that ornament, the snowflakes. I think this is on Vintage Country Mocha. And it's all the called for. Here's just a, there you go. See, that's not helpful either. Just looking at this bird's nest of floss, just believe me that it's all the called for. Okay. Hamilton horse. He will be back. Let's see what's back here. Yeah. Okay, so Hamilton horse. By Brooks Books. So again, I don't know if these are available any longer because they were free. There he is. I'm just going to do him and his trophy, not doing the number or the border. And that's how he's looking. And this is on 18 count petite point. We'll do this one next. Yeah, so the week before you saw arranging ornaments, and then this week I worked on In the Meadow by Ink Circles. This was a piece I got at the Jingle Ball one year. And this is all DMC. And that's how it's looking. How white really pops on this blue. But yeah, it's only 4 colors. White, green, a light blue, which you probably don't even really see, but there's a little bit of light blue in there, and a brown. All right, Prairie Schooler. So all the Prairie Schoolers got some work. So you saw the train the week before. You saw my finish of the 2021 Santa. Here is the hot air balloon. Now, I think it might have just been called for Whip Go. I think. Maybe. I'm not sure. I can't remember what it was called. Even though I just looked at it before. But I just worked on adding more here. It is on my Whip Go board. I know that. The 2021 Prairie Schooler Santa, it was also on my Whip Go. It was called, and so now it's finished. I did leave off the words on that one because I wasn't interested in adding the words. And that's also why I didn't put the border around, because I left the words out that were here. And I thought if I put the border around, it would just add to that glaring opening. So then also this Prairie Schooler, which is 2000, I worked on. And so I finished up a bit of his cloak. I've talked about it before. I don't know. I don't think I necessarily understand the hype of Prairie Schoolers. But to each their own. Yak stack. There it is. It wasn't yak stack, it's Yeti stack is what I've written down. But it's actually abominable bunch. Is what it's actually called. I just can't spell abominable reliably. And that's how that's looking. I focused on this tree up there because I was going to work on outlining him a little bit more. But I noticed there was a little bit of a misdye up in this area. So I wanted to make sure that tree covered it. And it does. So this is a piece of Roxy fabric. And it was probably like one of their discounted pieces at one point. And again, the misdyes, it was just one little spot of yellow. Okay, let's try to put this stuff back in here. Okay. And then talked about that. Okay. Yeah, okay. This all makes sense. Welcome to the North Pole. By Primrose Cottage. So this is also on a linen. Big City Christmas is on a linen. I think it's the same linen. Which might be lamb's wool. So that's how that's looking. And so this is the first part of the chart. that first like border, or the top section, is finally done. I think my biggest problem was there's so much color changes and it was hard to like get from one spot to another just like with one color. So that's done. And then last night I worked on Home for Christmas. This is also something else that is on my whip go. So this is out of this cross stitcher, and it's the cover. And the pieces inside. And this is stitched on Fortnite fabric that you can't get any longer. So I put in this peppermint, started this peppermint, then I noticed the back stitching wasn't done on those ornaments. So I did that. The gingerbread men do need some back stitching as well on their eyes and their mouth, but I didn't get to that last night. This is the only stitching I did yesterday. So it wasn't as stitch heavy as I would have liked, but that's fine. I was helping my son with his cross stitch and stuff and trying to figure out how I messed my sock up. So, and then let's show. So during Midsummer Stitch, I focused a lot on this. So this is the Sarah's Flosstube Friends, the Rocking Chair Stitcher. So I have 1 week to finish this girl, and get it in the mail. I think if I'm remembering correctly, I am sending to Sheila, MissusStitches. So that is how that is looking. So that's just a DMC that I used on her dress. Now I want to look at the pinks I had, because the accent pieces on the dress were called for in a red. But I don't want to do that. So I think I'll look at whatever pinks I have on my ring. Yeah. So yeah, Sarah and then Kathy from KathysQuiltsandStitches did the second lady, and then I'm the third lady. I have a little idea for a slight personalization on Sarah's. So. And then last but not least, I also worked on Blueberry J. You know what Blueberry J looks like. I don't know where my cover sheet is. I don't think I usually show it anyway. I was about 500 stitches behind, and now I'm behind again, but that's okay. When they lose and they lose and they lose, then my stitches don't increase very quickly. So I typically just wait and do a bunch at a time. And they won yesterday, so that's good. Yesterday got me 110 stitches on its own, so that's how it's looking. For the 500 stitches, I took this blue, and should I also believe it's this blue, and there's some in the bird. And so I just color completed that color. So that's how it's looking. Looks pretty good. Okay, that's it. Done. So I hope everyone has a great week. So this week I will be finishing up my Jolly July. So as I mentioned, I am a bit behind. I do have 2 new starts that I can still do for Jolly July. One is going to be my piece for the Canada Swaps. Maybe I should start that today. But I am like 4 pieces behind for last week still. And then I still have all of next week. So going to be some catch-up, but that's fine. So I will work away, and hopefully by our next video, all my Jolly July will be caught up. Yeah, so that's both Mania and Jolly July I failed at keeping up with each day. I don't know if that will deter me from trying to do this again next year, because I do like that I touch all these pieces, even if it's just for a tiny bit, but I also got a lot of finishes from it. So like from Jolly July, I got 3 finishes so far, so that's pretty good. Yeah, so we'll see how I feel next year. That's a next year problem, not a this year problem. Yeah, so I think I have said everything I wanted to cover today. I hope everyone enjoyed this feature-length presentation for myself, and we'll see you next week.